Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Auburn Lodge Hotel in Ennis. Tonight is the culmination of a remarkable year for St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield, the club, the mentors, and more importantly, for the players. The trophies before you here, the gems of wonderful endeavours on the fields of the nation. Tonight, we honour those who brought pride and honour to the province, to the county, and to the parish. Will you please stand and welcome Piper Michael Rourke as he leads the All-Ireland Club Hurling Champions of 1999, St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield.
Blowing hot air for that long. Now, the all-important meal to begin. We'll let the team sit down and take their places, and we'll let you sit down as well. In the course of the evening, we've got a number of speakers, some wonderful anecdotes for you. But before we begin our meal, I will call on Canon Cayman O'Carroll to say grace before meal.
Almighty God, on this wonderful, historical, in fact unique occasion, we thank you for assembled here as a community, people who share a tremendous love and interest in our Gaelic games. We want to, Lord, to thank you for your many blessings, and we look forward to a wonderful evening. We ask you to bless this meal, but we think also those of Kosovo and other parts of the world who are suffering so much. They're very much in our thoughts. For that reason, Lord, we doubly thank you that life is so wonderful for us. We appreciate everything. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord.
We take it from that you enjoyed the songs. Well done to Leola for that. And who knows, if you play your cards right, we might hear another song from her a little later. Now, as we're heading towards dessert, and it's very much the cats that got the Doora cream, you've got apple pie on the way. Looking forward to that. But to take us a little closer to that, we'll have more music from the Munster Scoring and Oak champions. Now, a big round of applause for our musicians, please. We're here tonight to talk not about music, but about hurling and the road to victory. And like many Irish roads throughout the country, it was a tough affair, potholed in places, twists and turns, the unexpected around every corner. The campaign began in Cusick Park on the 20th of September. 6 Mile Bridge, former county champions, were the opponents on that day. Scoreboard at the end of the game reading St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield 17 points, 6 Mile Bridge 2 goals and 9. To Tulla for the second encounter, that was into October. White get the opponents on this occasion, and the final score on that day, 2 goals and 15 points to 1 goal and 12. And then to 6 Mile Bridge for the county semi-final, 12 points to 8 was the final score over the men from Wolf Tones. One more game remaining.
The St. Joseph's team has just come onto the pitch, led by
Here
their captain Larkin Hassad. St. Joseph's hope to bridge a 40-year gap here this afternoon. Their last title was in 1958. They were beaten in the final on a couple of occasions in the 90s, and they lost last year's final to Clarecastle. They will be hoping to make atonement for that here this afternoon. So Shawnee McMahon about to toss the coin, as there is a very big crowd gathered in for this senior hurling final. Just last minute preparations. Ollie Baker there and Louis Mulqueen giving the last few words of advice to the St. Joseph squad as Shawnee McMahon gets the game underway. 75 metres from goal. But Shawnee, one of the great long-range free takers in the game today. Jabs it up. It strikes a good one. It's dropping in and it's a goal. It's gone straight into the back of the net, as there was a real mix-up inside there in front of the goals. So a goal of the soft variety for St. Joseph's, but they all count. This is Joe Considine for St. Joseph's. Evades the challenge of Alan Markham, strikes it down. Andrew Whelan racing onto it. O'Whelan has got inside the rear guard. Another chance of a goal. A second goal for St. Joseph's. A second goal for St. Joseph's. Andrew Whelan, the one that finished that one. He got inside the rear guard, showed a clean pair of heels to the cornerback, Donny Neelan, and crashed it into the back of the net. Gillen gets his claims out this side, but Ali Baker is under it. Baker gets it into Jamesy. Jamesy strikes it in, and Jamesy O'Connor puts it over the bar. Cuts a low one in the middle. Greg Baker gets a touch to it, out to his brother Ali, and pass into Larkin Hassett. Hassett in front of Whelan. Whelan gets inside. Another goal chance here. Whelan strikes it in. Yes! That's the fucking win! And the referee calls for the ball. And as the sides go in at half-time, it's St. Joseph's who lead on the score of 3 goals and 2 points to Kilmaley's 1 goal and 3. There's going to be a presentation to the team of St. Joseph's, who won their second and last title 40 years ago in 1958. Second half gets underway. St. Joseph's attacking. Larkin Hassett tries to nudge it in, but Ivor Slattery gets a touch on it out this side of the field. This is Ali Baker. Ali Baker fouled by Eamon Kennedy. It's going to be a free to St. Joseph's. And Ali Baker seems to have picked up an injury, but then he seems to be okay as Louis Mulqueen came in to attend. He was just pushed out of the way by Ali Baker, so Ali is ready to resume. A free to St. Joseph's. Sean McMahon to take it. Sean strikes it in. It looks a good one. Yes, it's gone straight between the posts. Sean McMahon with a goal and a point from long-range frees for St. Joseph's. This is Brian McMahon wearing 15, but now he has gone back to play in a defensive role. Half-hooked as he tries to get his shot in. Jamesy O'Connor trying to gain possession. This is Ali Baker. Runs into the challenger Conor Clancy. Gets it out to Greg Baker. Greg Baker lays it off towards Joe Considine. Considine in possession. Kilmaley's around him, about 4 players around him. Ball stuck inside. This is Jamesy O'Connor. Jamesy receives a hefty shoulder there. The referee says it was a frontal charge from David Pilkington, so it'll be a free in for Jamesy O'Connor. Jamesy strikes it in, and he makes no mistake with this one. Straight between the posts. Jamesy's second point of the game. Out to the unmarked Niall Romer. Romer strikes a long one downfield. Sean McMahon is under. The ball is batted down. Sean McMahon is there for St. Joseph's. Ball falls away from him. David Hoy is there for Joseph's. Gets his clearance out the far side. Ivor Slattery is under it for Kilmaley. Been put under pressure by Noel Brody. Joe Considine is there for Joseph's. Being pursued by Alan Markham. This is Niall Romer for Kilmaley. Blocked as he tries to get his shot in, and the referee has penalised Niall Romer. Almost 33 minutes gone in this second half. St. Joseph's about to win their first title in 40 years. They're third in all, and Jamesy O'Connor strikes it straight between the posts.
Okay, I got it.
His 4th point of the game. That could be the insurance point, and the referee has called for the ball. St. Joseph's are the Clare senior hurling champions for the first time in 40 years. Great scenes of celebration, and that's what it's all about. The Jack Daly Cup, or the Monsignor Hamilton Cup, will be presented to Larkin Hassett, the winning captain.
Tortugal is fear board on our dumb.
on Corner Cameron Hamilton, Sean Glocka, our son Dini at Doora-Barefield, Knockaneem and Ross Levin.
Yes, there you heard Lorcan Hassett accepting the Jack Daly Cup, doing his Christy Moore impression with the eyes wide shut there as he received the trophy from County Chairman Robert Frost. Now, let's move on. Part and parcel of the St. Joseph's success story was the number of characters it produced in the course of the campaign. One of those characters is, I'm told, out there somewhere. His name, I'm told, is Blackie. And if he's here, we'd like to have a quick word with him. So Blackie, if you're in the house, now is the time not to be shy and come on up and have a word with us. I've been told a timeout is being called for down there. 2 minutes. So you expect me to stand up here and talk for 2 minutes? Actually, Marty Morrissey was supposed to do this job tonight. The only problem with Marty was, with the cameras, he was like this. But he gave me his shirt anyway for the night. I think it's a nice, smooth fit, and he sends his apologies. Marty's set to be a married man, of course, and we'll wish him well in that venture. And for those that know Marty, that certainly is a venture. I won't even say what it is for the lady who will be slipping the wedding ring on. Anyhow, later on tonight we've got quite a number of guests for you. We will be talking to the county chairman, Father McNamara, also the chairman of the St. Joseph's Club, Father McMahon. In there as well we have Ger Loughnane and the chairman of the Munster Council, a fellow Kerryman, Sean Kelly. So all that still to come tonight. Now the word is that Blackie has arrived back from the bar after 15 pints, 4 Jack Daniels and a 7-Up, which is vital. And I believe he's going to come up and maybe have a bit of fun with us up here in the commentary box. A bit of a round of applause, we might cheer him up. Blackie taking time off selling gates in Glen Road to join us here tonight. And a ripple of applause right throughout the Auburn Lodge Hotel. So, for a change, we'll let a man that knows what he's talking about sit in behind the microphone. And Blackie, a few memories to relive for us.
God bless. Where will I start? I think the memory I have is the first real test of Doora-Barefield was below against Mount Sion, below in Waterford. So I'll do about 2 or 3 minutes of that game. And my old friend himself, the Neil, is involved. Christy O'Connor, a puck out in the second half, the wind blowing down, the pitch is in an awful state, it's very green looking but it's full of water. Ollie is stepping down there with the Wellingtons turned down around his ankles. It's a puck out by Christy, a long one down the field. Larkin Hassett has the ball in his hand, turns inside his man, gives it out to Jamesy throws it away, I don't want it, he says, out in. And here he is, the man, Georgie Clooney, Nolly Brody, Trapper John. Here he is, Nolly low hard in along the ground. Here comes the nail turns, has one hand on it, lays it inside, into Whalen, and Whalen is turned inside. Whalen turns inside. He gives it out to Larkin out to the nail with one leg, one hand. Goal by the nail, a goal. So that was the Kieran O'Neill with one leg. Next we had the Munster final against Tommy Vara. Ball poked out. Rory Bridgeland has the ball. Rory Bridgeland down to George Friend. George Friend loses it. Greg, the constable from Darkey, turns inside his man. Out the big brother Ali. Ali steps inside, throws a fish to kick, gets inside his man, lays him out. Dermot Daly's on the field. Get off, Daly. You're not playing. Here is Joe Considine. Joe from Clare, Cree. Say hello to Dermot. You robbed his place, you whore from Clare. Here he has Joe Considine. Joe steps inside his hand, throws the hurley out in the crowd. Toe to hand, and steps it out. Bounces the ball twice inside his man. Here comes the nail out to Mullen. Mullen is on. Mullen flicks it inside to the nail. He strikes. It's a goal! It's gone over the bar. It's just gone over the bar. The All-Ireland semi-final. Who can forget it? Below against Athenry and Thurles on a windy, cold tour of a day. Christie, the ball is coming in. Christie goes up. Christie made a balls with it. It's a goal! A goal for Athenry. The ball. We're in the last 5 minutes. Chair high clears it out. Dara O'Driscoll. Dara back to Kenneth Kennedy. Kenneth, get rid of it, Kenneth. Pull. Oh, Jesus, unreal. 2 minutes left. There's a pipe between the sides. The ball is inside. Where's Chair High? Where's Donald Cahill? Where's the whole feckin' full back line? Joe Rabbit, Bugs Bunny, into Keogh. Christie, Keogh, a save! It's gone out. It's a goal. No, Ger High clears it out. David High clears it out the field. Now the ball is nearly out the field. The second half of the foot. There's 14 minutes left. No, second. And the game is all over. And St. Joseph's. There is an objection. The Munster Council are looking at the video. And everybody in the Rosslevin that night said that ball was wide. And as the night went on, the wider it was getting. Now we're in the All-Ireland final. The sun is splitting the rocks. The pitch is absolutely beautiful. Micheál Mira-Hertig is 50 years doing it. I'm only doing it 1 year, and I can tell you one thing, I enjoyed every minute of it. They were led out onto the field by inspirational captain Larkin Hassard. Scored 1-5. He was lucky to score 1-5. He should have scored 1-11. This game was tight and close, and we all heard about the old men on the team. John Conran, Jimmy Holohan and Kieran O'Neill. The Steel Nail. Well, I can tell you one thing, there's 10 more years left in the Steel Nail. So lads, I let you all back to your apple tart and Knockaneen, Rosslevin, Dora, Crusheen, Flagmount, Killinane, a cream. So good night.
Big round of applause. And Blackie returns to drink a few pints with 16 or 17 of his cronies down there, as Micheál would say, in a space of ground where you wouldn't be growing too many heads of cabbage. Now, did you enjoy your meal? Very good. Now, part and parcel of your meal, though, is a bit of prayer for you, a bit of holiness, and we'll call on Canon Cayman again to call back up to us and say grace after meal, and also a few words on the year gone by.
Almighty God, we want to thank you for this wonderful evening. It's only beginning now, but we are most grateful, and as I say, we remember those who haven't got food either. Lord, thank you for everything, and we make all these prayers through Christ our Lord. I want to take my coat on. I have to feel a bit naked.
Just hold on as Canon puts on his jacket. He saw the bishop down here, so he said he better be a bit respectful, so we'll help him on. That's a very nice cardigan you're wearing as well, Bishop. Just thought I'd mention that on an Easter Sunday night. Anyhow, Canon, a few words, please.
Because of the very large programme tonight, I just want to make two particular points, and I was glad to get an opportunity to make it. Number one is to say, without going through friends, in other words, that this victory has brought a tremendous togetherness to us. And one of the things Larkin did say is he wanted to accept the trophy on behalf of Doora-Barefield, Knockneen and Rosslevin. To me, that was a very important point that they are at the final in Ennis. And so we're very grateful to you, because the whole thing has brought a tremendous sense of togetherness. I suppose that's one thing about the GAA. It's moulded us all into a unit. And it's grand now, before the All-Ireland Club final, to go down through the parish from one end, from the Ballyline end down to more or less towards the other end of the parish, and to see all the flags flying. So, in other words, the people have really swung around us in a tremendous way, and it's wonderful to be. It's a great time to be a priest in this parish, because you feel friends around you. Everybody is on a high, and tremendous cooperation. Now, the second point, to make very, very briefly, is I want to pay tribute to the backroom boys, the fellows who, over the years, when you weren't in the senior teams, pushed, as James O'Connor said in one of the papers, pushed fellas into the backs of Volkswagens and Morris Minors and brought them to matches all over the country. And the one name that comes to my mind is Mickey Mack. He kept the flag flying, James, he would say, make these fellows have a spirit of awareness of their worthless, of their worth. There are many other people who are involved in that particular aspect of it, but I just want this opportunity to say many, many thanks. And also, I was talking to Joe's father up at Mays, and he told me things. So when you disappeared all of a sudden from your father's sights, and he talked to me about the lads who came, especially was a Fergie actually, who used to drive out to Kilmahill regularly to pick you up. You tumbled along lift from Clare. He picked you up in Kilmahill. Isn't that right? Yeah, time and time again. Again, another one of the backbone boys who have done so much for our parish. There are many, many more. But thank you ever so much. I'm very proud of you.
A well-deserved round of applause for Canon Cayman O'Carroll. Now, Blackie in his commentary there made mention of one game in particular and one incident in particular. That was the AIB All-Ireland semi-final, St. Joseph's versus Athenry. But the game before that, some might say, was one of the most important from a Clare and a St. Joseph's perspective. It was the Munster final against the men of Toomevara. And in that game, the game which was played in the Gaelic grounds in Limerick, the scoreboard at the end read St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield 12 points, Toomevara 8 points, and St. Joseph's continuing on the great run of Clare County champions over the last number of years, winning the Munster final, making history for themselves in the process. Let's look back and remember.
Continue the stranglehold the Clare clubs have in the Munster Club Championship and become the fourth different club in 4 years to win the Munster Club. Louis Mulqueen, who is coach and trainer to the St. Joseph's side. So the scene is set as the teams line up in the centre of the field. Straight away, James O'Connor, Larkin Hassett pulling their men around as Pat O'Connor gets the game in motion. But the referee and linesman have decided it was a clash ball from the centre, so he'll throw in the ball. Hard pulling as the ball is thrown in. Ken Dunn in possession, swings it upfield. Out comes the fullback Donald Cahill. Cahill half block, but he gets his clearance across the centre. Darragh O'Driscoll is there for St. Joseph's. A long relieving clearance down. George Friend out very fast at that one. And Friend gets a rousing cheer from the Toomevara supporters. Upfield, Kenneth Kennedy is there for St. Joseph's. Out he comes, shoulders his way out, but he has stepped over the touchline. Well cut in by Philip Shanahan, well taken by Ollie Baker. Ollie solos past the 65, hand passes it into Noel Brodie. Brodie flicks it out as far as Jamesy O'Connor. Jamesy goes inside the tackle, still Jamesy O'Connor. Jamesy fires it in. The second point of the game coming from Jamesy O'Connor. Justin Cottrell with the puck out. Out comes Sean McMahon. Not as long a clearance as we've been used to from Sean McMahon. Picked up at the far side by Padraig Hackett. Hackett swings it across in the middle. Pat King lets it go by him. Ollie Baker flicks it out as far as David Hoy. David swings it out this side. Race on for position here. Jamesy about to show his pace. Oh, does very well to pick that one up. A great bit of stylish hurling by Jamesy O'Connor. Jamesy with the freeze, strikes it in. It looks a good one. Yes, it's straight between the posts. And St. Joseph's lead by 5 points. Padraig Hackett clears it out along the ground. Here comes Sean McMahon. McMahon drills a lovely low ball down into the forward line. Andrew Whelan strikes it in inside. Greg Baker. Could be a chance here for Joseph's. Greg Baker swings it in and puts it straight between the posts. Early on in their history, they were known as the Greyhounds. That has followed through along into the present day as well. Oh, that's a great sideline cut. Well tipped down. But Pat King, but Sean McMahon is there for St. Joseph's. Ollie Baker beaten to the ball by Tommy Dunn. Swung up this side of the field. Flick back here towards Philip Shanahan. Shanahan swings it upfield. Dangerous ball as it drops inside. Christy O'Connor grabs it into his chest. And Christy weighs up his options and swings it down this side of the field. Tony Delaney is under it for Toomevara. Returns it back towards the St. Joseph's goal. Donald Cahill is inside. Dennis Kelly flicks it out towards Kevin Cummins. Cummins has possession. Well blocked down once again by Sean McMahon. And David Hoy is there. Swings it downfield. This game has been played at a cracking pace. Swinging from end to end. This is Joe Considine. And certainly the crowd that travel in their big numbers from Clare and Tipperary are getting full value here this afternoon, because this has been one of the great Munster finals of modern times. It's been played at a cracking pace for the time of the year. This is Ollie Baker. In nips Jamesy O'Connor. In close attention is Philip Shanahan. Ken Dunn has possession. Tries to link out. Flicked away by Andrew Whelan. St. Joseph's chasing everything. The ball is wheeled in inside. Kenneth Kennedy is there. And he's tripped as he comes away with it. So at half-time here in Port Nagale, it's St. Joseph's, the Clare champions, leading Toomevara, the Tipperary champions, on the score of 7 points to 5. So both teams out for the start of the second half. Looking around, I don't see any change on either side as Pat O'Connor gets the second half underway. 30 minutes to decide who will be the Munster club champions this evening. Jamesy O'Connor. Half hooked as he tries to get his shot in. Well blocked by Tony Delaney. Ball swung back there to Terry Dunn. Terry Dunn links up with Aidan Maxwell. Blocked as he tries to get his clearance in, but then gets it away down this side. Kennedy bats it down. Darrow Driscoll is there for St. Joseph's. Close to the touchline. Half hook, but he gets it into Ollie Baker. Ollie swings it upfield. Kieran O'Neill rises for it. O'Neill has possession. And the referee is awarding a free end to St. Joseph's. It'll be Jamesy O'Connor to take the free. Jamesy strikes it in and he makes no mistake. Jamesy's 7th point of the game. Well taken there by Tommy Dunn. Been put under pressure by Sean McMahon. Struck in inside. It's well taken inside. Darrow O'Driscoll is there. O'Driscoll gets it out a little. Kenneth Kennedy is there for St. Joseph's. Kennedy coming away. Hurls it upfield. Greg Baker in possession. Baker turning inside. O'Neill making a dummy run in front. Greg Baker too slow in getting the shot in. Wins possession again. Lays it inside. Kieran O'Neill. O'Neill fires it in and puts it over the crossbar. Ollie Baker with the sideline cut. 12 points to 8, 32 minutes gone. Struck in inside, the referee calls to the ball. It's all over here in Portnagale. The maroon and white of St. Joseph's come on to acclaim their heroes.
Yes, some fond memories there from the Gaelic grounds in Limerick. A happy hunting ground for St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield, defeating Toomevara 12 points to 8. That was the AIB-sponsored Munster Club final. Now, we have a nice treat in store for you in a few moments' time, because we've got the All-Ireland semi-final and final package. But before that, we're going to hear from the Bishop of Killaloe. Put your hands together, please, for Dr. William Walsh.
You won't mind the cardigan column. No, I'm just delighted and privileged to be here. I'm not going to hold this session at all. You know, I'm delighted during the year to get the opportunity of seeing most of the matches that you played, and certainly it was a great thrill to see the style in which you played, particularly in the All-Ireland. It really crowned St. Patrick's Day, and seeing so many of, I suppose, lads that I've known down the years and have had great respect for, and it's a tremendous tribute to the, I suppose, a relatively small group of players, but extraordinary display. It gave us extraordinary pleasure during the year, and I want to thank all of them very much and congratulate them. Thanks very much. God bless.
Well, thanks to the Bishop of Killaloe, Dr. William Walsh, for that. So let's go back to the glory days of Thurles and of Croke Park. All-Ireland semi-final and final. Athenry, the side in the semi-final, previous All-Ireland champions. It was always going to be tough.
Semi-final, the meeting of the Clare and Munster champions Doora-Barefield versus the Connacht and Galway champions Athenry. Pitch here in excellent condition for what was expected to be a close encounter between these two great rivals, and also two maybe great neighbours, because they're only across the border from one another. As referee Pat Horan of Offaly starts the semi-final. It's underway here in Semple Stadium. Referee Patrick Horan racing across there towards the centre. Sean McMahon has the ball. He wins the first free of the game. The opening free of the game to Sean McMahon. Striking this one towards the town end and sending it high and sending it over the bar. The opening point of the game, inside the first 7 seconds of the game. Sean McMahon the scorer. Paul Hardiman with the sideline cut, cuts it right in towards the centre. The shadow of the old stand coming out on the pitch as the ball is won in the middle of the field by St. Joseph. Stopped that ball in towards the full forward position. Good control inside by the full forward. That was Kieran O'Neill, the big forward, striking it in and sending it over the bar. Good work by Kieran O'Neill and finishing it over the bar. Coming across from the centre of the field, Ollie Baker. The puck out, dropping in the middle of the field. Baha down there. Coming up to the wing half-back position was Brian Higgins. The yellow helmeted Brian up to the corner, towards the corner forward, who was Cathal Moran. Moran tried to work it inside, but controlled there by the wing half-back, and that's David Hoey. Tries to get his clearance in. Kenneth Kennedy is back there. Moran is in there. That's Cathal Moran. Fought at and right as the ball driven up along to the opposite side of the field. Nicely controlled by the cornerback Eamon Keogh, but leaves the ball behind him. In there nips Andrew Whelan. Kieran O'Neill is with him. Whelan trying to make an angle for himself. Still Andrew Whelan with the shot, and that's a great point. An excellent point by Andrew Whelan. Sideline cut taken by the midfielder John Hardiman. Well struck inside. Bad out there by Kenneth Kennedy. Kennedy tried to get room to swing a stick. Nicely picked up there by Donald Moran. Athenry thinking about scoring another goal. Not hit the cornerback. Ger Hoey can help it. But the ball ricochets off his stick. Blocked there by Pat Higgins. Higgins tried to get his delivery in towards the goals. Sean McMahon is back there. Back on his own end line. Back towards his own corner flag as he strikes the ball up towards this side of the field. dropping ball won by Larkin Hassett, picked up nicely by Brian Feeney. Feeney shot half knocked down, comes across towards this side of the field, pulled it on the ground by Brian Higgins. The momentum carried on there by the midfielder. That's John Hardyman along the ground, in towards the middle, towards Joe Considine. Joe Considine has a loose man outside him. That was the wing half back David Hoey, and it's Considine who strikes it, half hits it, May gets a second attempt at it. The challenge going in, Pat Horton almost got in the way, and picking it up is Noel Brodie. Brodie shot half to give to the stray there to Brian Hanley. Hanley shortens the grip on the stick, look to over carry that one. Ollie Baker is with him. Hanley boots the ball. They play a little bit of football around the west as well. That the ball is doing there to Brendan Keogh. Keogh went towards Clown in the full forward, and Donald Cahill. Back is Kenneth Kennedy, being hoosed off the ball, being fouled to the referee, and the referee has blown his whistle and awarding a free to Doora-Barefield. I see Sean Hines, the selector of the Athenry team, looking anxiously on in the line as that ball with Brian Feeney came across there to Brian Higgins, and the clearance out to the middle of the field. Push forward there, and David Hoey gets it, or Ger Hoey it was, up towards the side of the field towards Jamesy O'Connor. Nicely controlled by Jamesy. Player outside him, still Jamesy O'Connor, tried to hand pass it outside towards Whelan, driving it in towards the corner. O'Sullivan battling for it in there with the cornerback. This is Fergal O'Sullivan, leaving it instead to Noel Brodie. Has difficulty in lifting it in the first attempt, tries to get inside the defence, hand passed it loosely across the centre towards Kieran O'Neill. O'Neill bearing down and goes, a shot, a goal! Kieran O'Neill. That all started out on the left hand corner. Kieran O'Neill in the action, Fergal O'Sullivan in the action, Andrew Whelan, and certainly the big number 14. Well, he can get goals, and he's got a very crucial goal for the Doora-Barefield team. Referee Pat Horn calling for the ball. At half time it was St. Joseph's who led by 1-8 to Athenry's 1-2, and referee Pat Horn about to start the second half. And just as I said in the first half, this game certainly living on a knife edge. Sean McMahon sending that ball in towards the corner towards Jamesy O'Connor. Nicely controlled. Out it comes to Jamesy O'Connor again. Look to be held, and the referee has blown his whistle and awarding the free. Noel Brodie giving the pass there, and Jamesy O'Connor winning the free. A frontal charge on Jamesy O'Connor results in a free, and certainly please all round there, but Anley Bryan is being penalised. This is Jamesy O'Connor striking the free and striking it over the bar. "14 minutes gone in the second half of the All-Ireland Club semi-final. St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield, O'Cunta an Clare, Athenry, O'Cunta Nigalivan, Shahistad Sample. That was Pat Higgins, nice control by Pat Higgins, the centre half forward. What's his options? Loose player, Morton is inside him. Cathal Morton tries the shot, great save by O'Connor, the goals, an excellent save by O'Connor, pulled by Cloonan, again saved by O'Connor, and cleared out somehow there by the defence. I think it was Donald Cahill who may have got the final touch out for Athenry, but this is the corner forward, Cathal Morton striking that ball in towards the goals. It's gone high and it's gone. Is it gone out over the end line? It's gone over the end line and wide. Ollie Baker and Gardashi O'Connor, Conea Hogan strikes it low in towards Jamesy O'Connor. Back out again to Ollie Baker. The two all-stars combining well. Baker walking into a cul-de-sac, tries to transfer it outside, successfully getting it outside to Noel Brodie, or to Larkin Hassett. He shot his half blocked down, cleared out of defence. Ollie Baker tried to get a boot on that one. The cornerback was out there, that was John Feeney. With the ball out to Jamesy O'Connor. O'Connor with a shot, and the lead for Doora-Barefield. Dropping inside is a loose player at the moment, but Donald Cahill is back there, gets it outside to the side of the field to Morton. Morton has a loose player outside, the number 19 is Eddie Brady, strikes it inside, there's two loose men inside, a shot, and a great save, an excellent save by goalkeeper Christy O'Connor. The ball very close to the end line, and the crowd looking on, they're on, it's all over, and Doora-Barefield are through. An excellent save by Christy O'Connor. Cathal Morton, well, he had the opportunity to put the ball in the back of the net, but it's all over, and certainly the Athenry supporters there a little bit annoyed with maybe that one of those points should have gone over. But so it's finished here at Semple Stadium. Doora-Barefield 1 goal and 13 points. Athenry 1 goal and 12, and they're still talking about that point a couple of moments ago. Good afternoon everybody, and welcome to Jones's Road in Dublin. The scene is now set for the All-Ireland Club Hurling Championship final, the meeting of the Clare champions St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield. They're the Munster champions as well, and Rathnure, well, they come from Wexford, they're the Leinster and Wexford champions, all in readiness. St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield. It's a parish which straddles Ennis town. Whatever side of Ennis you go at, you find St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield parish going right around the town. There's some new, there's some old in the parish, and there's certainly great support here from the Clare side this afternoon. Likewise, the men from Wexford, they have been in this competition on 4 occasions. They have lost all 4, but today they're hoping to redeem the situation. St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield, Shahan Cade Oroville, Shade and Shahi Park and Clokig. They're hoping to be the first time lucky here this afternoon, as the mascot there leading around the Rathnure team, and I'm sure he's a very happy mascot this afternoon. The Rathnure subs, well, they're Ted Morrissey, Donal O'Leary, Jimmy Houlihan, John Codd, PJ Walsh and Shane Bannon, Paul Bannon, Nigel Higgins and Robbie Codd. Their Rownori, or their management team, is Dan Quigley, Seamus Bannon, Aidan Summers, and their trainer is Brian Teague. Referee Pat O'Connor about to start the All-Ireland Club Hurling Final of 1999 here in Park on Clokig, and it's Larkin Hassett first in possession for St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield. A shot broken down, gets it in towards Noel Brody. Brody getting it inside nicely toward the corner forward. The corner forward is Andrew Whelan. Whelan with a shot dropping inside, it's gone out over the end line and wide. Christy O'Connor, that's not a long puck out by Christy, aided by the breeze. Tries to drop it up towards his brother Jamesy. Won there by the full forward Kieran O'Neill. O'Neill, the big 6'4" big full forward, strikes it in right across the goal. Behind him by Jamesy O'Connor. Up comes the goalkeeper Jim Morrissey. Nicely controlled by Jim and cleared out the field. Out it comes towards the centre back position. It goes only to the midfielder, who is Joe Constantine, the footballer come hurler from the County Clare, striking it in. The sides are level. Jim Morrissey, the busier of the 2 goalkeepers, that ball will drop towards Ollie Baker, the Garda, based in Ballinasloe, tries to get it towards Noel Brody, shoves it nicely outside to Ollie Baker. He may have a damaged hand or a damaged finger, but he's certainly not showing it. This is Ollie Baker, a good ball across to Whelan. Whelan scored a great goal in the Munster final, strikes it in and sends it over the bar. Paul Codd with the sideline cut. Well struck sideline cut by Paul Codd into the hands of Christy O'Connor, the sun in the eyes, but Christy O'Connor safely holding it, getting it out towards the side of the field, coming out again to be won on the side of the field by the Wexford men, and that's Mick O'Leary. Mick O'Leary looked to overcarry that one. The referee not impressed, but James O'Connor wins it for St. Joseph's. Clear the ball up to the centre. Out comes Kieran O'Neill, all of 6'3" of Kieran O'Neill, trying to get away from John Condren, and the heroic John Condren tries to dispossess him, but it's won there by Joe Considine. John Condren still battling with him, and the ball is sent out there. Likewise Joe Mooney was in there. The ball dropped in towards the corner. St. Joseph's putting the pressure on Andrew Whelan, leaving it instead to Larkin Hassett. Hassett with a shot, and it's gone over the bar. Larkin Hassett, the team captain, striking it over the bar. Battle hard going on for it still. Larkin Hassett has time enough to pick it up, try to find a colleague outside, drops it in towards the centre. The opportunity for Jamesy O'Connor, loose. Till Jamesy O'Connor, will he go for the goal? Strides the shot, a goal! Actually, it's not Jamesy, it's Andrew Whelan. Well struck free by Joe Mooney, the 26-year-old farmer, dropping it nicely inside. Coming through the centre there, Mick O'Leary, transferring it in to the middle to Martin Byrne, pushed off the ball by Donald Cahill, the full-back. Scooped out the field somehow by Darrow O'Driscoll. Ruck of players in there, may eventually come for Rathnure through their full forward. Colin Byrne out comes to the side of the field to Codd. That's Paul Codd, finds a loose player outside. Austin Codd, Austin pushed to the ground, or is he? The referee waving play on, and Sean McMahon comes away with the ball. Good refereeing by O'Connor, Pat O'Connor, the match official. In nips the midfielder Joe Considine, sends the ball along the opposite side of the field, gone over the sideline. Sideline cut, struck nicely in towards the centre, into the hands of Sean McMahon. It came from one number 6 to the other, gives it straight back there to Noel Brody. Brody, a good ball inside towards Whelan. Out on this side of the field, it comes like Kieran O'Neill has difficulty in getting away from Guiney, strikes it in and he sends it over the bar. Rod Guiney, or Dave Guiney, to try to block the path of Kieran O'Neill, but the man at full forward, he's got his name on the score sheet for his first point. It's half time here in the All-Ireland Club Championship final. It's 10 points for Naomh Joseph, it's 4 points for Rathnure. Welcome back to the second half of the All-Ireland Club final. Name Fiosef o Kunte an Clare, De Colleen, Rahanur o Kunte Lochgarman, Kercolleen, agus an Raytor, Padraig O'Connor o Kunte Limony, o a hand from the County Limerick is Pat O'Connor, and the second half is underway. Joe Mooney trying to get a stick on that one. Racing in there is Jamesy O'Connor. Jamesy hoping to open the scoring, strikes it in, but it's gone to the left and wide. Shot Jim Morrissey with the puck out. Baker trying to get a stick on it. Joe Considine in there, eventually comes out to Ollie Baker. A little bit of scrappy play. Ratnure tried to control it from the back, but coming out and picking it up, or from the forwards, picking it up there is the wing back David Hoey, being hooshed off the ball, nicely controlled by Darrow O'Driscoll. Good ball inside towards the full forward towards Kieran O'Neill. John Condren with him, sidesteps the challenge, gets it out here to this side of the field to Stephen Summers. Stephen Summers first time into the centre, where it's won there by Mick O'Leary. Mick O'Leary, good control by Mick, missed the Leinster final because of injury, strikes that ball, only Sean McMahon is waiting for it inside. It comes down inside, Sean McMahon still trying to work it out. Ratnure trying to get that ball in, but Donald Cahill to the rescue for St. Joseph's and Doora-Barefield. Won by, it looks like Jamesy O'Connor, yes, 10 back in the wing back position, but he loses possession. Sean McMahon trying to work it out. There's certainly hardy stuff going on in there. This is Donald Cahill on Farrell or Cole. Donald Cahill, a mock got a Kieran O'Neill, Augustin Farrella, John Condren, nicely controlled by Kieran O'Neill, held by John Condren, free to St. Joseph's. Jamesy O'Connor on Muntor Scullia, agus Shin Colleen Ella to Jamesy. Dropping on the opposite 45 metre line, up goes the hand of Joe, midfielder Joe Considine, the hurler come footballer, into Kieran O'Neill. They're all big men. This man is 6'4", outside to the team captain Larkin Hassett. Hassett with a shot and it's gone over the bar. Jim Morrissey with the puck out. Certainly Rahanur finding it difficult to get through the St. Joseph's defence. Joe Considine, nicely controlled by Sean McMahon, took that challenge. The engineered that score well, as the ball is driven up the field there towards Noel Brodie, the captain, and a point. Sideline cut to be taken by Ollie Baker. Well, he has all the time in the world because we're 36 seconds into injury time. Ollie strikes this one in towards the goals. O'Sullivan trying to get a stick on it, pulled inside a goal! A goal by Larkin Hassett. Coming towards this side of the field, 2 goals and 14 points, it's all over. And so St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield, the 4th team from the county of Clare to appear in an All-Ireland club final. The Bridge in 96, Wolf Tones in 97, St. Joseph's in 99, victorious here. Final score from Park and Croquig, 8 points for Ratnure, 2 goals and 14 points for St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield, or 20 points to 8. And so the celebrations have started down around the Rosslevin and down around the parish of Doora-Barefield. So the All-Ireland club champions of 19 and 98 and 19 and 99 are Doora-Barefield, 2-14 for St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield, 8 points for Ratnure.
thank our club secretary, Steve Lau, Michael McMahon, our chairman, and all the members of the committee for those who are planning and everything that is today, flights, hotels, etc. Thanks very much, lads. But the next word of lecture has to go to the guy who's always first in Australia. His enthusiasm, his energy, his life, and kept us going all through the year. And that's the Queen, Louis McQueen! I'd like to thank all our sponsors, especially Clare Civil Engineering, Paul Whelan, Jim Bell, and the group of families for us all through the year. Thank you very much for that. Finally, I'd like to thank a great band to our team. So the band all through today. And once we have a little look at today, that's all they got us through. I'd like to be serious for that door. Amen?
Champions, St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield. Michael Clohessy is looking very tired down there at the table. He's not the man he used to be. Stamina being sapped after the last few weeks, so we're going to roll on. I know a lot of people tired, want to go dancing. We have a few speeches and of course the medal presentation to come. Now, what you saw there on the screen, St. Patrick's Day, it's the proudest day for any club in the country, considering over 600 clubs will begin the year in the Hurling or Football Championship. But really it's the culmination of work, not for a year, but for years, for decades in any club, late nights and thankless tasks. A man that can tell us about the good days and the bad days. Will you welcome please the chairman of St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield, Michael McMahon.
A gwini usually like but while falter cor rev gachtan a tagaha an seo nocht kun kelura ling an occard starul shop. I welcome everybody who has come tonight to join with us in this celebration on what is a historic night for the parish and for the club. I welcome especially the guests who have graciously joined us for tonight. I welcome Bishop Walsh and the clergy of our own parish, Canon O'Carroll and Father Tracy, who had to leave early, and I thank them for coming. I welcome from Killarney Sean Kelly and his wife, who had to rush from the Railway Cup replay, or the extra time rather, to get here, and I appreciate their coming. Father McNamara Father McNamara, Chairman of Clare County Council, is with us, and also Ger Loughnane and his wife. In addition, at the top table, we have that great manager, Michael Clohessy, and his wife, Maureen. From Dublin, we're glad to welcome Christy Killeen and his wife as representatives of the Friends of Clare, who have shown themselves to be friends of Doora-Barefield in a very practical way. I also received a message from the Clare Association in Dublin congratulating us and wishing us well. We welcome also Paul Whelan and his family, who have been so good to this club, and also the other sponsors who have helped us out during the year. Two clubs in particular have been very good to us during the year, and we are delighted to have representatives from Clare Castle, Martin Reynolds and his wife, and from Rowan, John Sullivan and his wife. We had a message from Joe McDonough, President of the GAA, expressing his sincere regret that he was unable to be here. He's in Australia, but he would have been very anxious to have been with us, and he sends us congratulations and best wishes. Now, what a year it has been for Doora-Barefield. We started off this year with very modest ambitions. We hoped to win a county final, and we ended up winning an All-Ireland final, and as well as that, on the way we gained recognition as the Club of the Year in Clare and the Club of the Year in Munster, and that, I think, is a year to be proud of. Much has been said about the team already, and in fact all the superlatives have been used up in describing them. But I would just add that they have done themselves proud during this year, they have done the club proud, and they have done the parish of Doora-Barefield proud. And I think also they have been excellent ambassadors for Clare hurling wherever they went. I have said elsewhere, and I repeat it, that there are things more important than winning, and things even more important than winning an All-Ireland final. And the way in which you win, the way in which you participate is all important. And I think in that respect, our team this year, they won with style, with dignity, and with true sportsmanship. And they have reason to be proud, and the parish has reason to be proud of them, and to be assured that they are good role models for the young people of this parish growing up. A year as successful as we've had doesn't happen by accident. And only 28 people donned the jersey, but a great many people were involved in helping out in so many different ways. I'm lucky enough to be up here enjoying, if enjoying is the word, the limelight, whereas there are so many others, officers of the club and people who worked very hard for the club back along the years and had very little return for it. And I think tonight we should remember all of those officers and players and mentors and managers who did a lot for this club over the last number of years. This is an occasion for me to acknowledge the work done by all the people involved in the club this year. And to start, I would have to begin with the team management. And there's not very much I can say about them that hasn't been said already. They are a marvellous group, they've had marvellous success, and I'd like you to give them a good round of applause. I am referring, of course, to Michael Clohessy, Tom Duggan, Fergus McDonough, and the coach Louis Mulqueen. And in addition, I would like to add the two men who kept everybody together and kept them going, Dr. Connie Fanning and Dan McNamara. There are a lot of club officers who work very hard behind the scenes to keep things going. There are a lot of managers of different teams, not just the senior team. There are junior teams, under 21, there's hurling, there's football. All of those I would like to acknowledge tonight. Also the officers of the minor club, because that's where the foundations are laid, and I'd like to pay tribute to those people as well. Now, also, it does cost a lot of money to run a club, and we're lucky that we have a finance and development club, and they do an awful lot of work. And I think a special round of applause is due to the members of that finance and development committee. Then there's the field management committee, and our field is in great demand and requires great attention, so I'd like to remember as well those who look after the field and keep it in running order. Running a club is a very expensive business, and running a successful club such as we were this year is enormously expensive. But we were lucky in this club to have a great many sponsors who were willing to give us support. And our main club sponsor is Paul Whelan, and if I say to you that he is a very generous sponsor, you can really believe that he is. As well as Paul Whelan and Clare Civil Engineering, there are many other sponsors, too numerous to mention, who have kept us going, and we are also, of course, indebted to them. I can't acknowledge everybody here tonight, but you will have seen on your program that we are very lucky to have so many sponsors. And after that, then there are the supporters, who followed us all the year in their hundreds and came to Croke Park, and they made banners and they made flags, and they were a great boost to the team. So I'd like to thank those, and not just supporters from the club, but supporters from around the county who came to support us. Finally, or nearly finally, I'd like to thank the hotel management, Mrs. Lyne, Eddie Fitzmartin, and the staff of this hotel, who have been most helpful, most cooperative, and I think they served up a tremendous meal tonight, and we're very grateful to them. And the man that relieved us of a lot of the burden of carrying on this night, and has done it very well, Colm O'Connor. Thank you, Colm. And just to finish, I met somebody coming in tonight, and he said they'd better not leave it another 40 years. He said, because I won't live to see it. Well, there are an awful lot of us that won't live to see it if you leave it another 40 years. So don't do that. Gormahagwif.
Always a tough job for the club chairman to step up and say a few words, and I think Michael did a spectacular job there. Well done. And another round of applause. Now we're going to go to my native county, to the county of Kerry, and the next man, like me, never short for a word or two, good, bad or indifferent. In the past year, dirty video meant a whole lot more down around Killarney in the Kelly household, but thankfully that's all well behind us. Now, Sean Kelly, chairman of the Munster Council, has certainly made his name, chairman of the Kerry County Board before that, onto the Munster Council, and this man, ladies and gentlemen, is strongly tipped to lead the association sometime in the next millennium. We certainly look forward to that. Anyhow, let me hand over to him now for a few words on behalf of the Munster Council.
Here now speak, Cahirlig and Common, Cahirlig, Irvinig, and Kushta Kunte, Agus a Cardi League. Bevalim Maradus, Gur Gallum Vian Shaw, a Ganokard, Fear Starul, Fear Tanvuk Shaw, Agus her Kyankol in the Moon, Denim Kogaricus, and Nev Joseph, Asukt, Crave the Moon, Agus Crave the Heron of Wukent, Snakabana, Renish of Goshka. Agus har me can féin a bhharm a few weeks a chur nulliv as ocht an curhútam agus me van céile Juliet veliv ag an ácáid táchtach seo. Go míle maith agaibh. Ladies and gentlemen, I often think, not having witnessed it myself, that one of the nicest feelings and the best feelings of all in the GA must be to be involved with your club when they go to Croke Park on All-Ireland Club Day, St Patrick's Day, and of course to emerge victorious. Because when you consider it, you're playing with your friends, the guys you grew up with, the whole parish, your neighbours are there, everybody knows one another, and to emerge victorious and to think back when you started off as young players being coached by the local juvenile coaches, and that one day you finished up in Croke Park before over 40,000 people, televised live, and proved that you were the best hurlers, not just in Clare and Munster, but in the whole Gaelic world. It must be a marvellous feeling and bring the cup back home again. So well done to St Joseph's. You waited a long time for it. Now, most clubs in the All-Ireland series are usually around for a while. In fact, the team you beat are losing their 5th All-Ireland. But it would be unfair to say that St Joseph's came out of the blue, but you certainly came in out of the cold in most impressive fashion. It was a historic year, a record year, when you consider it. First of all, winning the Clare Cup, the league, then the county championship for the first time in 40 years. Then I think Jamesy got married. Then after that, you had 3 All-Stars, 3 of the greatest hurlers that it's been my privilege and the privilege of many more people to see, Shawnee, Ollie and Jamesy. Then you won the Munster Club Championship. You became Clare Club of the Year, the first winners of the new Munster Award of Munster Club of the Year. Then Ollie became the recipient of the Munster Club Champion Player. You beat Athenry in most dramatic fashion. The video proved nothing, by the way. I won't elaborate on other videos. And of course then, as has been said already, you won the All-Ireland Club Final in a true sporting manner, with great panache and great style. In fact, I saw all your games in Munster at All-Ireland level, and that has been something I can honestly say I haven't seen a St Joseph's player put a foot or a hand out of place. And as your chairman was saying, that's the most important of all. And I suppose it's no wonder that as you pass out the road there on the way to Gort, the sign on the roadside says St Joseph's, more cups than plaitics. Now, I'm not sure what St Joseph would think of that analogy, but I'm sure plaitics are quite happy with the free advertising. So well done to you. And of course, you're not just a club confined to one game, you've also been involved in promoting Camogie. You have a very fine football team that went to the semi-final of the championship. And in fact, Joe Considine went to within a whisker of getting on the Munster Railway Cup panel. And your record in score, of course, is phenomenal. You've actually, I think, won 6 score All-Irelands in set dancing. And as a person who took part myself in set dancing once upon a time, and coming from a county that didn't even win a Munster title, not to mind an All-Ireland title in set dancing, then we bow graciously to your superior gifts. So well done to you. Yes, so not to hold you too long, and that reflects very well on a great club. A club that is obviously at one with its supporters, and I was counting here tonight, there are almost 200 contributors here to the club over the past year. AIB are represented here tonight as well by Margaret Burns. I'm delighted to see them here because they've made a great improvement to the club championship. And of course, you have wonderful officers and a great trainer and great selectors, and I compliment them all. Louis and his selectors, Michael, your chairman, and it isn't often you see the father of such a great player being involved so deeply in his own club. it would be much easier for him to sit back and bask in the glory of Shawnee's great exploits, but to be involved himself, and I know Shawnee's sister, Sinead, plays camogie as well with Clare. So I'd like to compliment Michael, your secretary Stephen, and again Jar, who's involved in playing and also treasures the club. That's the kind of spirit that makes you such a great club, and that's the kind of spirit that will keep you at the top for many years to come. So finally, as this is the last year of the millennium, and as Clare were in the doldrums for so many years and have now emerged to be the top of the pile, I wish you continued success both at club level and John Loughnane also with the Clare team for the last year of this millennium, and hopefully maybe also for the first year of the new millennium next year. Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks to the chairman of the Munster Council, Sean Kelly, for that. Sean, by the way, is an Irish teacher, if you're wondering why his Gaelic was so impressive at the beginning of the speech. Still waiting for Kilcummin, I think, to get out. Is it Division 3 or Division 2 of the Kerry? Putting me back in my box now. Sean mentioned that Playtex thing. We just had a word from the Playtex, a spokesperson for the companies, and they said, like St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield, their cups are bigger and their support is the greatest. What one Kerry man can do, another one can do equally well. Now, Chairman of the Clare County Board, Father Michael McNamara, is our next speaker. It's been a hectic number of months for him. Successes for St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield. The Clare footballers staying up in the top flight football following their win against Monaghan last week. The continued success in the league of the Clare hurlers. Into the colleges, St. Flannan's, St. Cayman's, and who can forget as well, Kalash de Vera on their All-Ireland title. Now, if you're ever driving around the county at night, round of applause, I think, maybe for those, if you want to. Now, if you're driving around the county at night and if you see a black Audi coming out of the dark, that's Father McNamara, spinning off to some meeting, some talk, some discussion, anywhere in the county. Now, Audi, the car group, have a simple motto: Vorsprung durch Technik. It's German for better by design, and I think you'll agree with me, that really sums up St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield and Clare hurling of late. So, Father Michael McNamara, I'll let you take the microphone.
Gormago Colamagus, Aaron Kedal, she's is Milam, Mavikas, Agual, the Mihal, then common August common of Joseph Octon Quere, Avian Shalivinot. Agus an tanarad is mínamara go mínlum ó Cree Cogardas a gháil de gachéine a bhí páirteach in san gasca únta carine si bhí mlína. About this time last year, in a much smaller gathering over in the Roslevin Arms, we came together to celebrate the presence among us of two cups. I think there was the Intermediate Football Championship and the Clare Champion Cup. And the wish that night was that Canon Hamilton might make his appearance in St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield sometime in 1998. And all we have to do is to look at the array of silverware that's here tonight. The Clare Cup is with us. I don't know, is it by design or by default? But in addition, we have the Canon Hamilton, and we have the Munster Trophy, and we have that beautiful All-Ireland Trophy. So to the people, everyone involved, well done, tremendous. It was a great year, and I congratulate everyone that was involved in what has happened. So well done. I'd like to be associated as well with all that your chairman, Michael McMahon, said, and to thank Sean Kelly in particular for his good wishes to St. Joseph's and to Clare for the coming year. But Michael mentioned one thing, and he said he hoped it wouldn't be 40 years again. But I think the winning of the All-Ireland in particular is a tribute to the people in St. Joseph's, in the hurling club in particular, in the football club, in the GA club, that have kept the faith over those 40 years. There were lean years in the 60s and in the 70s, And then I think through a very far-seeing youth policy, there were a group of people who built for the future. And I think the winning and the success that has come over the last few years, and this year in particular, is a tribute to everyone who has worked through the club and with the club in the lean times as well as in the more fertile times. We remember all those tonight, and I think they deserve a particularly loud round of applause. It's nice to see the officers that planned for the future now taking the club through the successful times, and I think the team and the panel will forgive me if I highlight two great warriors of St. Joseph's, Ger Hoy and Kieran O'Neill, who have lived through the leaner times and are now enjoying the harvest. I'm not suggesting, lads, that you won't stay around for a few more of them and win a few more championships. The final thing I'd like to say is this, that I think the victory for St. Joseph's has done more for the parish of Doora-Barefield, a new parish in one way, but with traditional roots. You've done tremendous for building up community, for building up parish, for building up comradeship, so I congratulate you on that count as well. So well done. And I suppose it was only to be expected that defeating my adopted club, Wolf Tones, in the semi-final and Kilmaley, my native parish, in the final, that you would go on to bigger and better things. But I'll tell you one thing, just watch out for those cups next year. There'll be a lot of them trying to get them off you. But very well done, congratulations, and the very best of luck in the future. Well done.
Now, thank you to the county chairman for the McNamara. We'll have to ask him to stand back up after he wipes his brow. It's very tough up here at the top. Also, I'll ask Ger Loughnane and Sean Kelly to stand up and assist us. We're onto the medal presentation stage of the evening now. And the way we're going to do it is quite simple. For the McNamara, we'll present the county medals. Sean Kelly, as chairman of the Munster Council, will present the provincial medals, and Ger Loughnane will present the All-Ireland medal. So we'll begin. Well, the best place really is in goals, and we have a lady helping us out as well tonight. Before we go any further, her name is Breed Baker. Will we put your hands together, please, for Breed? Just to show the talent didn't stop with Greg or with Ollie, and she's going to be assisting us tonight, bringing the players up. They'll be presented here in front, they'll pick up their medals, and if you want a chance for a photograph later, that will be done also. So let's begin with the number one position, the goalkeeper. And goalkeepers, as we all know, are different, and Christy O'Connor embodies that in that he can write as well as he can play a great game. He has booked his place in club folklore for his reflex stop we saw in the semi-final win over Athenry. He has now progressed on to the county senior panel. A word of warning though for Jamesy, who will be now known simply as Christy's brother, Christy O'Connor. Okay, Ger, you can stop talking to him now, it's alright. Plenty of time for that in Crusheen on Tuesday night. Noel Purcell is up next. Noel was the sub-goalkeeper behind Christie in the St. Joseph's setup. The 23-year-old is rated a reliable and resourceful shop-stopper on the All-Ireland winners panel. Next up is James Carlin. A plumber by trade, 24-year-old James plays his hurling at wing back and, like the day job, ensures everything is kept nice and watertight. James was a regular in a number of last year's Cusick Cup games. Next up is Donald Cahill. Deceptively fast is how one match preview described him. Many full forwards who have crossed his path will more than agree with that statement. 25-year-old Donald has shone throughout the campaign, winning plaudits both inside and outside the county. Another man who has come through the impressive underage setup in the St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield club. We're staying in defence this time. Kenneth Kennedy, who should at this stage be applying for permanent residency in Croke Park. Such are his frequent visits. The St. Patrick's Day success is just a continuation of a great spell for the young man, winning an All-Ireland minor medal in '97 and an All-Ireland college medal last year with St. Flannan's. His father Kevin won a county championship with Brian Bruce in 1975, the year, would you believe, I was born. Next up is Robert Robbie Thompson. Already has been given that bit special tag. The 19-year-old NUI Galway student deputised for full-back Donald Cahill back in January in a number of challenge games and impressed all and sundry. Watch out, Donald, the message. Porrick McNicholas is up next. He was yet another cog in the expansive St. Joseph's panel of players, was used to good effect in the Clare Cup, stepping in for the injured Kenneth Kennedy, mentioned a few moments ago. The 24-year-old who's been part of the senior setup for the past 2 seasons is, by day we're told, an insurance broker. And obviously we go to the same tailor. Brendan Bohannon next up, yet another product of the wonderful underage system employed by St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield. Brendan has won a number of underage medals with the club, but tonight this trio of medals will now take centre place. A Trinity College student, Brendan unfortunately missed out in the All-Ireland final due to college commitments. Big buzz waiting for Gerard Hoey. At 30, some, and I'll stress that, might say that Ger is the granddaddy of the team. I won't add my voice to that. The All-Ireland medal caps off a wonderful career that has seen him play in almost every position on the field of play. He also has a provincial medal from Leinster from his time in Portlaoise, a bank manager in Limerick. Ger is the man with the money. He's also a club treasurer in his spare time. Ladies and gentlemen, Gerard Hoey. Let's go from age and experience to youth and exuberance to Darragh O'Driscoll, another man with an All-Ireland medal from his days with the Clare minor success story of 1997. Darragh certainly made his mark on the wing on his debut year with the team. He is yet another NUI Galway man, and the family is steeped in GAA as Dad Noel is the county's youth officer. Darragh O'Driscoll. Next up, Sean McMahon. Arguably one of the greatest centre-backs in the game of hurling at present, some might even say of all time. A great exponent of every aspect and always ready and willing to improve and evolve. Has more awards and medals than time allows us to mention, but really a linchpin on which any club or county success is built. Sean McMahon. Don't drink tonight now, Sean, right? I'll see you 7:30. Francis Hurley is up next. Now, judge for yourselves, but Francis, I'm told, is said to be the tallest man on the St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield panel. Rumour has it he hasn't even come down since the St. Patrick's Day win, and a handy footballer as well in his spare time. Francis Hurley. Gary McDonough is the next man, another player who has been produced by the superb underage system operational in the club. A determined wing back, Gary was one of the most consistent players throughout the year at those torturous training sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, Gary McDonough. David Hoey is up next, and who will ever forget that St. Patrick's Day and David's display at wing back? Paul Codd certainly won't. And thousands others stood up and took note of the defender, the brother, and younger we might add, of Ger. St. Patrick's Day performance, the perfect end to the perfect year for man of the match, David Hoey. Okay, Ger, you can talk to him afterwards. We're caught. Next up is Joe Considine, known simply as Smokin' Joe. The Clare kid came to town, saw and conquered Crow Park, and I'm told a few female hearts along the way. His performance in the semi-final win over St. Mary's Athenry had hurling pundits certainly upped and excited. A mediocre football, they say, and has a county championship medal from the other coat as well. Joe Considine. Paul Mockler is next, and he's another member of the NUI Galway setup and is considered a rich talent according to club insiders. A dual star, he was an impressive performer in the footballing action of last summer for St. Joseph's. Paul Mockler. David Morrissey is up next, another young man, and yes, you can almost guess it at this stage. David is a student at NUI Galway, and at 19 can only look to the future as a means of emulating the past. David was part and parcel of the under-21 side, defeated in last year's final. David Morrissey. Next up, another man that has seen it all and done it all before. That sort of stuff is illegal, by the way, and you should know that. A giant amongst men, both on and off the field, feared by men, loved by women. That's what I was told to say. Ollie Garda Baker is the key midfield dynamo for both the club and the county. Ollie was named the AIB Provincial Hurler of Munster, following on from his man of the match performance over Toomey Vara. He has, on occasion as well, been known to score a goal, that is. A footballing talent of note also. Put your hands together, please, for midfield genius, Ollie Baker. Commonly mistaken for ER heartthrob, Dr. Doug Ross, aka George Clooney, aka Noel Brody. Ladies, if you haven't seen this guy, hold on, okay? He made his name and his mark in Waterford as he gave Hurler of the Year Tony Brown the runaround in the opening action of the Munster Club Championship. The centre forward was a member of the under-21 county team last season and could well be making his mark up the ranks. Round of applause for Noel Brody. Now, next up is Fergal O'Sullivan, a Dell employee by day. Fergal played his part in the campaign, replacing Greg Baker in Thurles. Fergal also, I'm told, got to know Joe Rabbit quite well in the second half. And Joe, by the way, sends his regards. Fergal O'Sullivan. Now, next up is Dermot Daly. Illness unfortunately hampered Dermot's hopes of a first-team place in the season gone by. However, he was the very mark of determination and was always ready to come into the action if required. Dermot Daly. Next up, James E. O'Connor. Classed as one of the greatest hurlers of his generation, James O'Connor was always on hand to produce vital scores from play or from frees. He has now won almost every single accolade that the game has to offer and is a footballer of note, and I'm told not a bad golfer either. Now, mention of the golf, Jamesy isn't here with us tonight. He's working on his swing along with Tiger, David Duval and Mark O'Meara in Augusta, ahead of the US Masters on Thursday, but his brother John will collect the award for him tonight. Now, we're back to the Baker household. Greg Baker. I was in college with Greg. That was a long time ago. There's a few stories I could tell, but we'd be here all night. Ollie's big little brother, Garda, and teacher. Greg overcame a broken hand mid-season to win his All-Ireland medal. A gusty and bustling cornerman, he's equally comfortable in a defensive capacity. His only future concerns, however, are a romantic allegiance to the county of Limerick. Greg Baker. I'm in trouble. Colm Mullen is up next, yet another All-Ireland medal winner from the minor setup and yet another NUI Galway star. Colm really has won, done and seen it all. In the days following the St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield success, Colm was wearing his inter-county hat for the under-21 side. They unfortunately went down to Cork in Kilmallock, but he's also part of the senior footballing setup heading towards the Munster Championship. Colm Mullen. Our next medal winner tonight, Patsy Fahy. Now, poor Patsy was haunted by injury during the course of the campaign, culminating in a broken arm. Patsy is a massively adaptable player who can score as well as save them. The 22-year-old works with Specific Scientific. Patsy, aka Robbie Fowler Fahy. Patsy, the advice from up here is if you're not on cocaine, you should start. We'll move on. Andrew Whelan scored that glory goal which set the St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield bandwagon on the march against Rathnure on St. Patrick's Day. The 26-year-old is a fast, skillful player, a fact recognised by the inter-county management team who included him on the 1997 panel. Andrew Whelan. Vying for the title of Grandad along with Ger Hoey is Kieran the Nail O'Neill. Kieran has had a wonderfully varied career at club and inter-county level in both hurling and in football. A powerhouse full forward who was in stunning form on All-Ireland final day. Has a Munster Senior Football Championship medal from 1992 when Clare defeated, thank you, Kerry, Sean Kelly. You remember that? Anyhow, let's move on. Congratulations to Kieran O'Neill. We've mentioned 27 players. There were 28 on the panel. We're leaving the cream of the crop to last, the captain, Lorcan Hassett. proving that defenders can make super forwards. His 1-5 scoring rate in the All-Ireland Club final was a wondrous sight. An inspirational captain both on the field and off the field of play, Lorcan became only the second Clare man in the history of the GAA to lift the Tommy Moore Cup on St. Patrick's Day above his head. And by the way, a good racing tipster in his spare time, remember Generosa. Lorcan has it! And now Lorcan will join me up in the podium to say a few words to all of you here tonight, and I'm sure you'll all listen quite intently, and he might have a tip as well for the National tomorrow, who knows? So Lorcan.
Thanks, Miller Cullum. I think everything has nearly been said. Just, I suppose, first and foremost, I thank everyone who's here tonight. It's a tremendous crowd. Like, I've been playing with the club and I've been listening about the club since I was, 6 years of age. So my father and my uncles were talking about the club of St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield, one of the great club we had here. And like, I come from the far end of the parish, and I was a very shy young lad coming over to training as an under 12, and joining up with the rest of you lads from Roslevin and Barefield, and to see the crowd here tonight and the whole parish united again is tremendous, and like, all I hope that comes out of this victory is that we unite the parish, because you look at Kiltormer and they're back into intermediate now after winning All Ireland Club. Now that I don't want to put a damper on it now, but like, it's a matter of going on from here. Like, Clare won the All Ireland in '95. They could have sat back and said, lads, we've done the job, let's enjoy ourselves, but they went out and won it again in '97. So it's up to us to put the work in. We'll have a couple of months off, but let's put the work in again now, and let's look forward to the future. As I said to Christy over there, like the 1999 All Ireland season is finished. Like, let's look forward to the future. It was brilliant and all that, but tonight marks the end of it, and let's enjoy it, but also let's look forward to the future. There's a few people that I left out in my speeches throughout the year. It's very hard to include everyone. I suppose for tonight especially, I'd like to include all the finance committee. Their names are too numerous to mention, but every one of them obviously put in a huge effort to make tonight a tremendous success. And the meal, etc. Colin McCollin's brilliant commentary all during the evening has been brilliant, has really made the evening for us, and the sense of professionalism and organisation has been excellent. So I'd just like to thank all those people firstly. There's one young gentleman who I have forgotten in all my speeches and who has been invaluable to us all during the year. He's only 16 years of age, and I've been over to him, I'd say, about 10 times this year with broken hurleys, bits and pieces of hurleys, and he's put them together with a sense of diligence and enthusiasm that has been brilliant. And he's been involved with the Clare minor team, and he's a fine hurler himself. So I'd like to all give you a round of applause for the brilliant David Honan. And finally, I suppose on a sad note, there's 3 people I'd like to remember on an evening like this evening. Firstly, Mary Vaughan, who died during the week. Her family and her friends and her sons were tremendous supporters of Doora-Barefield down through the years. Donna, Mihal, Denise, Carmel, etc. They've been great supporters of the club down through the years, and my sympathies go to that family tonight. Secondly, I'd like to pay homage to a man who was residing in our parish for a long number of years, and who was a great inspiration to me personally, and who always had a kind word to say, no matter if you played badly or played well, and who always invited you up to the house, and be it before Mass or after Mass, who'd always had a good word to say about your performance or about your studies or whatever. and kept encouraging you, and that was Father MJ Nealon. And the last gentleman I'd like to mention was, I suppose, one of the great exponents of the commentary art we've ever heard with Clare FM or with RT or with any one of the commentary facilities. His enthusiasm for the game, his joy of the game, his love of the game, throughout the years. He was a schoolmate of my father's, and his passing this week was one of great sadness. And he took a special interest, I think, in the St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield Club, and I'm just glad that he lived to see, the day where St. Joseph's finally reached the potential that we'd promised for a long number of years, and that was the great Michael Galler. That's all I have to say this evening. Just thanks very much, Reverend, who supported us during the year. Tis very easy to go to an All-Ireland final in Croke Park and support the club, and I just wish, I just hope that we'll see a lot of you during the year at Clare Cup games, Cusack Cup games, under 12 games, all the way up along, and let's keep this club going and let's keep this parish alive. Thanks very much.
Some great and heartfelt words there from Captain Lorcan Hassett. And Lorcan, I think if you ever consider a career in politics, then you'll be going straight to the top. Now, one man that has considered a career in politics over the last number of days is conveniently sitting on my left-hand side. It's been a busy week, I think you'll admit, for Doora-Barefield. There was that game last Sunday down in Limerick. A few sticks broken. A bit of a championship feel, he said. There was the game this afternoon against All-Ireland champions Offaly. We were all watching our watches. I think Stephen Byrne was as well, Ollie. And then on Thursday, Doora-Barefield announced to the world that he was quitting Clare hurling to make the move into politics down in East Clare. But thankfully, following a number of brown envelopes from P. Flynn, he has agreed to be here with us tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, will you put your hands together for, some might say, the Messiah, some might say the potential Taoiseach, Doora-Barefield.
We've heard so many great speeches here tonight that I find it very hard to follow on them, but there are two little known facts that I'd like to put before you tonight. The first one is that I owe a great debt, or even two great debts, to St. Joseph's. The first one was around 1970 when I was playing minor B for Fetal, and St. Joseph's were minor B as well at the same time, and we played them in the semi-final of the championship. And of course, at that time it wasn't unknown for clubs like Fetal to play overage players. And not alone have we won, but we had two overage players, and St. Joseph's immediately copped onto it. And of course they could have dumped us out of the championship, but being the genial people that they are, they said they'd give us a replay. And in the replay, one of the umpires was a certain Jimmy Mack. And the game was very, very tight. We were losing by 2 points with a few seconds to go. And I think the Seamus Jurek was definitely inside the square, and he scored the goal for Fetal. And Jimmy hadn't the heart to disallow the goal. And we went on to win the game and win the minor B championship, which is one of the few medals that I have at home. So I'm very grateful to Jimmy and to St. Joseph for that medal. The second great debt I owe to him is to the proprietors of the Green Grove, as it was known out there at one time, when it was owned by Jimmy McDonough, and Jimmy Mack again was involved. Because were it not for the Green Grove, I wouldn't be married to Mary today, because it was there, after several points, that I finally persuaded her to marry me, which was the best decision of my life. So, so it is no wonder that I have such a great affinity with St. Joseph's. And of course, I lost contact with them for a long time until those three great men came along from St. Joseph's, Shawnee, Ollie and Jamesy. And before I go on to talk about, to say anything about the team, I'll just give you 3 examples of those guys. When Shawnee came into the team first, you know, nobody knew Shawnee. You know, the first time I saw Shawnee was outside in Crusheen 121, and he had these 2 massive legs on him. He was about 17 stone, you know. and Shawnee did 2 rounds of the field, and he says, "Ger, I'm doing the leaving, sir, and I'd like to take a break till after the leaving." A few months later, I saw him down in an intermediate championship down in Newmarket. I forget who they were playing, and I persuaded Len Gaynor that we should bring him on the team. So we brought him on, and he was just on the team for a few months, and we were going playing Tip. You remember Tip hammered the living daylights out of Clare in '93. We were going playing them in '94 in the Munster Championship. So we decided to be a good idea to bring all the team into the Clare Inn. The Clare minors had been playing in Limerick. We went in to see the game, and we came out to the Clare Inn, and we were having a discussion on how we might beat Tip, and nobody was confident of beating Tip. So we sat down and people were talking away, and the thing was nearly over. When next thing this greenhorn, Shawnee McMahon, got up. Well, he made a speech for about 5 minutes. Unusually for Shawnee, the language was outrageous, but you'd hear a pin drop while he was there. And when he was finished, I said to Lynn Gaynor, "Jesus, we're going to beat him." And of course we did. Now, since then, of course, he has gone on to be the tremendous player that he is, and there's no point in dwelling on that. But moving on to Ollie, I suppose my abiding memory of Ollie, funny enough, will be last year when we lost the match against Offaly in the game in Thurles. At half-time, Ollie was above on a table, and he was roaring. Now, Ollie usually roars for the smallest little thing. And Colm Flynn said to me, "Oh, Jesus, Ger," he says, "he has to come off." He said, "His back is gone, he has to come off." I said, "Baker, get off that bloody table as fast as you can. We have to try and do something." Of course, he went out in the second half, and he had, I suppose, the greatest 35 minutes of his life in that second half, which shows the tremendous character of players like those. And then, of course, with Jamesy, when we got to the All-Ireland final in '97, it was my great privilege to tug out beside him. And I'll never forget that last point. You know, for some reason, I was standing beside the Tipperary goalie. I had just moved a few inches from the green seat because it was too wet. And suddenly, suddenly, out of the gloom from underneath the Hogan stand, I saw Jamesy getting the ball from Colin Lynch. And he was like in slow motion. You could see Jamesy pivoting and hitting the ball and looking at coming in the air. I knew it was going to go over the bar. Well, what I didn't say to Brendan Cummins in the Tipperary goal was more revealing. But, I mean, I suppose when we look back at it in 10 or 15 years' time, when those are finished with playing, we look at it and say, weren't we just privileged to be around, to be there when we had players like those? Because talk of character, talk of skill, talk of all the qualities that we admire in players, there they are in the 3 fabulous Barefield boys. And not alone that, but in those 3, there this year were those qualities transferred to not alone 15, but about 26 or 27 fabulous Barefield boys. Because when I came out of the county final this year, I don't mind admitting this, outside Cusick Park, somebody said to me, "Are you going to Waterford next Sunday?" "Oh, jeez," I said, "Having the hope." You know, that's the way most people felt. 90% of the people coming out there, they felt having the hope going down to Waterford. Down they went. And I suppose, and that's exactly the point I was subtly trying to get across. Not alone was I wrong, but they went down, and I suppose it wasn't alone St. Joseph's that they did proud that day and all the people of Doora-Barefield, but every person in Clare were really proud that evening because there was more at stake than just the club Munster Championship match that day. And on we went to the Munster final, the All-Ireland semi-final, and I must say the Munster final was great, but for me the highlight was the All-Ireland semi-final and the journey home from Thurles, because as a player myself I'd made so many desperate journeys home from Thurles, really bitterly disappointed, and I'd never made it as a supporter, you know. And Tony Considine and myself came home, and geez, we said this time we'll stop on the way home to really savour it, because that was a tremendous victory. And we headed for Croke Park for the All-Ireland final. The excitement outside Croke Park beforehand, I had never experienced that before. People gathering, queuing up, the excitement going in. And whereas the game, from a neutral's point of view, mightn't have been great, it was such a proud day for every Clareman to be there that day. And to see the torturous journey that St. Joseph's had endured. No club from any county had to pursue such a hard journey to win an All-Ireland. And that is why having that cup down there is so very, very special, because whoever won it before never had to make such a difficult journey to get there and to win it. You should be tremendously proud of everybody, I know you are, of everybody involved with that victory. It was a victory to savour for as long as you breathe. And when bad times come later on, as they will, you know, things go uncycled. When you ever sit down on your couch, you know, as the poet said, when upon my couch I lie in vacant or in pensive mood, you can always think of those great days, and they'll flash across your mind and bring ease to your mind and say, weren't they absolutely mighty? Every one of them, not alone the three, but all of the others, because on different days, different players starred. You know, and as we were coming home from Croke Park, Colin Flynn said to me, he says, you know what's special about St. Joseph's, he says, you know, above all the teams that have gone in there, they produce the soundest people that you could ever meet. And I said that actually about 4 years ago when I was presenting medals to Kenneth Kennedy, I think Kenneth, you were under 16. There is no club that produces people as sound as the St. Joseph's players. And when they come into the Clare team or the Clare setup, you can pick them out straight away. There's no complications, there's no hang-ups. They're out there to do their best. Anything you tell them to do, it's done straight away. So you should all be tremendously proud of those marvellous men who represented you in 98-99 and brought a unique All-Ireland club title to St. Joseph's. Well done to each and every one of you. We're tremendously proud of you.
Thanks to Ger for that. Imagine what he would be like if you all had a vote in East Clare. And one thing, the coy politician that he is, he didn't clarify about that proposal once upon a time. Who had the pints at the time? Let's move on now. We've heard from the players and from Ger. We make mention of the management team, Michael Clossy, Tommy Duggan, Fergus McDonough and Louis Mulqueen. We have a presentation firstly to make to the manager, Michael Clossy. Ladies and gentlemen, will you put your hands together as the presentation is to be made by the club chairman, Michael McMahon. That's our time almost up. Now, next up, we'll call on Tommy Duggan to receive his trophy. And one more to go to Fergus McDonough. Now I will call on the team manager, Michael Clossy, to come up and say a few words now for us. A round of applause, please, for the team boss, Michael Clossy.
My Lord Bishop, Reverend Fathers, ladies and gentlemen, the year just gone by has brought back many, many memories to me over the long service that everybody has given this club down through the years. I want to particularly pay a special tribute to those who kept our club going through the lean times, and I'm a prodigy of the lean times because I played in the 60s, 70s and early 80s when it was difficult enough to field 15 players, let alone win a championship. I would like to pay particularly tribute to those people that are gone to their eternal rest, and I think of Father MJ, the late Joseph O'Dea, Buddy Redden, Tom Lennon, many, many more. I'm sure they're with us in spirit tonight as they look down on us in this fantastic arena here tonight. To those people that I hold very, very dear to my heart, the people that are still with me, thank God, and people I look up to, people that I go for inspiration every time I see them. I think of Manny Fitzgerald, I think of Lotto Halloran, Dennis McNamara, my old friend down the road, Michael Lahav, Paddy Frawley, Jimmy Mack, and two people, if I ever go to the players, they say, you know, they remember above all, one that broke the mould, I suppose, in the under-21 championship, the great Speedy O'Connor. But the other man has already been mentioned tonight, and I think he's the only man that has ever put half a hurling team into a Morris Minor, the great Mikey McNamara. On behalf of the panel and the team, I'd love to thank supporters who travelled all over Ireland supporting us. Those who came home from far distances, I think of two in particular, Denny Henry, our own Tom Quinlivan that I hurled with. It was great to see them in Crow Park, and thank God the result was in their favour. Two in particular that didn't make it, and today I suppose was a special day for myself and my wife, Maureen. Her father passed away just a month ago. A man that was keen interest. He didn't live in the parish, but every time a match was played, he'd be on the phone. And when is it on Teeny G? Have you got the video? Who played well? Who played bad? Sadly, he didn't make it. And of course, the man that did make it, but unfortunately passed away, the great Michael Gallagher, he turned up in the dressing room. He turned up at our do in the Rosslevin there at Christmas. Wasn't feeling well, but he always made the special effort, because even though the Mills was his club, I think in his true heart, Doora-Barefield was always the club that he saw with the potential, and thank God we realised that potential for him. On behalf of the panel, may I thank Clare Castle, old and arch rivals though they are. They did turn up trumps for us. Rowan, whenever we looked for the pitch, there was no problem. All the other clubs, and especially Shannon, and there's one player in particular, and I've seen him all over the matches, and I'm seeing him here again tonight, and what a player this man turned in a performance in Limerick and in Cusack Park today, the great Frank Lohan. To all our sponsors, and there are numerous, but especially Paul Whelan and Clare Civil Engineering. Paul joined the club when there was no aspirations of All-Ireland titles, but you know, when your heart is in the real thing, it always comes to the top, and thank you, Paul, for staying with us. The officers of the club, our great chairman Michael McMahon, but a man that's been overlooked and he does tremendous work. He'd be ringing me day and night about where we're going, where we're staying, where's the meal and so forth. Our own secretary, Steve Lahav. To my fellow selectors, a man I grew up with, we played together, we fought together I suppose, but a man I hold great respect for, a man I always trust his views on hurling, the great Tommy Duggan. The other man, you know, if training was at 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning, not many people believe that this man started at 8 o'clock in the morning to head for Clare to be back for 10 o'clock in Clarecastle or Rosslevin. You know, it's easy to turn up for training, but when you put in that 2 hours before and 2 hours after, a man I think that has adapted Joe Considine, and I think Joe appreciates the work that the great Fergie McDonough did for him. What can I say about Louis? I think it was the catch of the year when Kevin Kennedy rang me one night and he says, Louis might do that job for you, when the Galway trainer fell through. A man that's, you know, he was so committed. We could have a meeting down in Rosslevin, and there might be 4 phone calls after I going home about this and that, and everything was teased out. And I'll just give you one example. The night before we played Athenry, it came on the grapevine that, you know, Athenry were going to play 3 midfielders at some stage or the other, and sure enough, it happened in the second half. And I've met several people since, and they said, what in the name of God were you doing with Sullivan out at midfield? But that was teased out on the phone long, long ago, and I think Joe Rabbit knows about it now. I feel humbled here tonight to be in the midst of 2 other great managers. The man that broke the mould for Clare hurling in 1995 and is still continuing to do it, the great Ger Loughnane. But a man who broke the mould also and brought great pride back to this parish when he brought the minor title back for Clare, the great Kevin Kennedy. You know, we had 1 All-Ireland in 95, we had 2 in 97. What about the hat-trick in 99? My job is done, I've one in the bag so I can talk away. I'm going to put pressure on Loughnane and Kennedy. We want the All-Ireland senior, and Kevin, we're looking for that under 21 a long, long time. Please God, it will be 3 in 1999. Lastly, I want to thank each and every one of the players. And what a calibre of player, as Ger Loughnane says, we have. You know, 3 All-Stars, but where were the 3 All-Stars the following morning? Back in Clarecastle hurling. That's where the heart of it lies, lads. If you haven't got that calibre of player, that player to put the club first, we're going nowhere. And I sincerely congratulate and thank our 3 All-Stars. But the whole lot of you of 28 are All-Stars, and I don't want to single out any, but I must single out 2 because I played with them in the tail end of my career, and so did Tommy. You know, a man that was deeply disappointed beyond the grove after Clarecastle beating us in 97, and he says to me, Claw, I'm not walking out of this club until I have a county medal in my backside pocket. Well, I was the proudest man inside in Cusick Park when we won the Canon Hamilton for that man. That's the great Ger Hoy. The other men, they don't come any better, they don't come any stronger, they don't come any better clubmen, lads, than Kieran O'Neill, a man that played through injury, pain for this club, and I'm delighted for him as well. I just want to get a few ads in at the moment. The first ad is, we're in Roslevin, lads, at 1:30 tomorrow, heading for Whitegate, unfortunately. I might talk to Father Mac later, we might get in a minor adjustment on that. But 1:30, lads, we're heading for Whitegate. We have to play a Clare Cup match. There'll be a breathalyzer test around the Roslevin Arms, but whatever. Secondly, you see the photographs in front of you there on the main table. The photographs, I've dropped some literature on each table. If you want to order, contact myself or Steve. The prices are on the table, cash with order. And finally, I promised the man a week ago that we'd all turn up tomorrow night in the clubhouse because he's bringing along the under-12 team to meet the panel of players. So I'd appeal to as many as possible to come along to the clubhouse tomorrow night to meet the under-12 team, because, lads, 'tis they're the future of this club. We have to look after the club. We have to look after our future. I promised Dan O'Connor he'll have the young lads there. It's only an hour, lads. It could be a big hour come 5-10 years time. So put in the effort, try and be there tomorrow night. Finally, it gives me great pleasure to say this. I would like to invite everybody that's in the hall to stand, except the players, raise your glasses and toast the All-Ireland Club Champions of 1999.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael, for that. 7:30, by the way, tomorrow evening in Roslevin for that get together there. Well, that you may or may not be happy to hear is that for tonight. We have toasted, we've celebrated. I'm sure a small bit of dancing on the way. A few people I would like to thank, our camera crew, Joe Finnick, David Finnick, the director, Anna Marie McGuire, and Declan Barrett. And a big round of applause, I think, to them. And as they say, the video is on sale at the door as well of the night. I'd also like to thank all our speakers tonight, some very eloquent speeches. Also from the club, Michael McMahon, Steve Lahev and Sean Baker for asking me here tonight. And thank you for a wonderful, wonderful night. Hopefully we'll have another one again. But for me, for the moment, good night.